Hi guys, Super Secret Tech here. Um, I've done a lot of more advanced videos and I figured I'd do a more simple video of basically just kind of very rudimentary how to play Magic. The first choice that you make with any Magic game is whether or not to mulligan your cards. Um, right now, I have one land, which is a mana source. Um, the mana source basically, I can produce one red or one black. Only one spell in my entire hand costs one red, and everything else is more than that. So for that, I'm going to choose to mulligan this hand, so I'm going to hit yes. Now I have two mana sources, and most of my spells are two, so that's good. Um, so I'm not going to mulligan this hand. So the first thing that you do, um, most turns, is going to be play land. In-turn lands have special abilities, like the Guildgate taps for a red or a black, but it comes into play tapped. So I'm going to go ahead and play the Guildgate, and you have a couple of different phases. You have an untap phase, you have an upkeep phase, you have a draw phase, you have two main phases, and then you have a series of combat phases. Um, you have an in-step of every turn and a cleanup. The cleanup will only be triggered if it has to be, basically like if you have more cards in hand than 7. Um, the instep, like you'll kind of notice where I have auto yields. Like I have a yield on mains for me. I have a yield on declare attackers and declare blockers for me and my opponent. And I have a yield for instep for my opponent. These are just some basic functionalities. You don't want to yield everything where you're hits in here and having to click every single time because it'll really slow you down in your gameplay. Here I have some options because I can basically cast any spell in my hand but the Rubble Belt. I'm going to go ahead and play a Bomber Corpse. It costs 1 and a red, so I can play it with a black and a red or a red and a red. Um, didn't draw a land, so I'm going to go ahead and play Rakdos, Shard Freak, and you can see you can play it any different of the three ways, even though so blue heck and red hybrid, this is called hybrid mana. Hybrid mana can be used any of the three ways. So I could have tapped it as red and a red as well. Um, this is basic your normal attack. When creatures attack, they're going to look this way. Um, you turn them sideways, and they're going to swing in. This guy's power and toughness, he has 2 power and 1 toughness, which means that he's going to hit for 2, but if these two fought, they would just kill each other, because this one has 1 power and 2 toughness, so they both just knock each other out. Since they're both attacking me, they're going to deal 3 points of damage. 2 plus 1. The toughness doesn't matter in damage, it only matters with blocking. Um, just to give you guys an idea of what I mean by that, I'm going to go ahead and block with my Frostborn Wield. Or Weird, I'm sorry. So I'm going to attack with both these. I'm going to take my 1/4, and I'm going to block my 2/1 Shard Freak. So as you can see, Frostborn Weird took 2 points of damage, but it's a 1/4, so it didn't die. Another mechanic is a Blood Rush mechanic. This is a fairly new mechanic, but even if you're coming into play Magic right now, you need to be familiar with it. The way Blood Rush works is during attackers or blockers, you can pay red and click on Maka. As you can see, he has a Blood Rush of red and discard him, and I can give either creature +3/+3 until end of turn. Now I'm going to show you a different trigger with Battalion. So I have 3 creatures attack, it triggers Battalion. Now I can deal an extra 1 damage. And sometimes like using the interface itself is kind of complicated if you've never used it before. Um, and so I recommend doing solitaire till you get kind of familiar with mechanics. Some stuff just doesn't work right, like life gain isn't substituted correctly on solitaire. Um, and so sometimes it can get a bit awkward. So that was just kind of a straightforward deck. I got to show you a little bit of differences in cards, but it was mainly attackers. I'm going to do another solitaire. This time I'm going to go from standard pauper to standard, just to show you quite a bit more interaction level. Okay, this one's real land heavy for this deck, so I'm going to mulligan it. That one's just about right. These are dual lands, so with Temple Garden I can either pay 2 life and it come into play untapped, or I can leave it, let it enter the battlefield tapped and not take that 2 life. Woodland Cemetery basically says if I control a swamp or a forest, I don't have to tap it when it enters the battlefield. So these coincide really well. There's a lot of synergy here. So I can play one that I can play tapped or untapped, and then most of my other lands I can just play for free off that one. Um, and this card's called Scavenging Ooze. It's a M14 card. Um, it's a very powerful yet elegantly designed card. Um, it costs 1 and a green, and it has exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, put a +1/+1 counter on Scavenging Ooze, and you gain 1 life. The reason it's a very powerful card is because the natural order of Magic is to combat, is to fight. And this card makes you win in fights. Um, so let's make one of those scenarios. Well, I can't yet, because I don't have another creature. Lingering Souls is a sorcery. It puts 2 white spirit creature tokens into play with flying into the battlefield. Flashback is 1 and a black. Basically what Flashback does is it allows me next turn, or if I had more mana this turn, um, I could pay 1 and a black and do it again. Basically is what Flashback means. Some cards, flashbacks are expensive, and they give you an extra boost. This one's fairly cheap. So black and 1, and I get 2 more tokens. The other thing that's really beneficial mechanics-wise is you really don't want to play spells um, during your first main phase when you can play them in your second main phase unless they benefit your combat. That's a little more advanced magic though. Here I have a couple of different things I can do, but I want to show you how cool the mechanic of Scavenging Ooze is. So I'm going to attack just like this, um, and I'm going to block like my opponent has something. Okay, now since we performed combat, I now have a creature in the graveyard. So with Scavenging Ooze, I can use its activated ability, eat the creature, and gain 1 life. Now over the course of doing combat all game long, this guy can get ridiculously out of control pretty quickly. He's very, very nasty and useful because of that effect. Brawls is another creature with an activated ability. Each creature card in your graveyard has Scavenge, which is a keyword effect. The Scavenge cost is equal to its mana cost. Return another creature, or sacrifice another creature, regenerate Brawls the Scarscribed. So the way Scavenge works, I don't know if it'll let me circle all the way around here or not. If you click on Scavenge, it'll tell you exactly what it does. Pay this card's Scavenge cost and exile it from your graveyard. Put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the card's power on target creature. Scavenge only as a sorcery. Um, so basically, if my opponent casts Lightning Bolt targeting Brawls right now, I can click on him, click on a Spirit Token. The Spirit Token dies, but Brawls lives. Um, and so that can be very useful in a lot of different matchups. This is a Planeswalker. Planeswalkers have a couple abilities. Um, when you right click, you have two choices. So I can either deal 3 damage to target creature, and that creature deals damage equal to its power to Garruk, or I can put a 2/2 wolf token onto the battlefield. So I'm going to choose option A. Then this particular Planeswalker also flips after combat damage. So he has 2 or fewer counters on him, so he gets transformed. Now I can't go ahead and immediately use his ability this turn, but next turn I can use the new abilities. So the new abilities are, I can put a 1/1 Death Black Wolf token with Death Touch onto the battlefield. I can sack a creature and search my library for a creature, reveal it, and put it in my hand, then shuffle. Or if I had another loyalty, I can make creatures I control gain trample and get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. I'm gonna go ahead and make a token with Garruk, and I'm gonna use the activate ability from Gavony Township just to show you how that works. So you pay a green, a white, and 4 colorless. You right click it, and I get to put a +1/+1 counter on each creature I control. Just makes your whole squad bigger. Now the way the Death Touch mechanic works is basically I can block any creature and it's going to just die to it. I know this was kind of quick, but I just want to do more of a more basic viewpoint of understanding Magic and understanding the phases. I hope this was educational. If I went a little bit too over the head, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. If I need to make more advanced videos, just let me know. I'll be happy to do that as well. Hope you enjoyed it and have a wonderful game, guys.